Today, we're making tofu stir fry. And it's not as complicated as it looks to be once you know the trick. So first, we're going to take our brick of firm tofu and we are going to cut this tofu into thin triangles. So as you can see, I'm cutting the whole brick in half and then turning each half into 4 squares. And then I take each square and cut it thin again and then go diagonal and make little triangles. And we're going to do this for the entire brick. And this will make frying it much easier. The pieces will be more bite-sized. And it just gives a nice contrast to the shape. Next up, let's do our veggies. First, I have a white onion, and I'm going to cut this in half after I peel it, of course. 1/2 of this onion, I'm going to dice finely. This is going to be cooked with our rice. The second half, I'm going to cut like thin matchsticks. Just like that. And that's going to cook with our veggies in our sauce. Next, we have 1 carrot, cut off the bad ends, and I decided to try a different method to doing matchsticks. So this first way, I'm cutting them and then lengthwise and then cutting them into the matchstick shape. As you can see, it's extremely tedious. I do not understand how some chefs do it this way. It just takes literally forever. I've literally graduated high school and college several times, the amount of time it took. And this way, I'm doing it the way I normally do. And as you can see, it's way faster. Way faster. Ugh, and I'd hate to have to go to high school and college again. Oh god. Alright, now we have a yellow squash. Again, cut the ends off. We're going to cut this into bite-sized pieces. And I'm keeping them fairly thick because they hold a lot of moisture. And I don't want them soggy. Now here, I have a bunch of green onions. This is going to be for our garnish, so you don't need this much. You only need 1, if that. But I like to cut all my green onions at once for future recipes. Hence why I'm doing so many. But it's just our garnish. Now let's start with the sauce. I'm going to need 2 oranges. And from one of the oranges, I'm going to cut about a tablespoon of orange zest. And as you can see, if you don't have a zester, just use your knife to cut the outer peel off with no pith. And then just mince it really fine. And like I said, I only need enough for about a tablespoon. And that doesn't take long. And you want it to look like this. Now, we're going to take both these oranges and we are going to get the juice out of them. It's going to be about a 1/2 cup's worth. It really depends on the size of your orange. As you can see, I'm using navel oranges here, but they are kind of small. But they suit me just fine. You might be able to get the same amount of juice from 1 large navel orange. Now, to the orange juice, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of ginger powder, a tablespoon of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and there's the second one, sneaky little guy, and then a tablespoon of sesame oil, about 4 to 5 cloves of minced garlic, and this is optional, but a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Don't use too much red pepper. It will be very, very spicy. Alright, now let's start our rice. We're going to toast our rice with that diced onion from earlier. And this will help get the aromatics from the onion to come out, give a nice texture and flavor to the rice. And once that's toasted enough for you, add the same amount of water that you added rice. So I added 2 cups of rice, so here I'm adding 2 cups of water. Now we're gonna add our seasonings. A pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. And then make sure it's all stirred around really well. And this is on high heat. Once it starts boiling, you're gonna wanna quickly put on a lid, turn the heat to low, set a timer for 20 minutes. After the 20-minute timer, take it off the heat and let it steam with the lid on for 10 minutes. Now, the fun part, frying our tofu. I put in about 5 tablespoons of sesame oil, and now on medium heat, once the oil's up to temperature of course, I'm going to put the tofu in. Be careful of splattering, because when you bring it up to heat, it immediately starts sizzling, like you saw. Now, I'm adding some garlic powder, some ginger powder, some onion powder, and some black pepper. And the trick is, let it fry for 10 minutes. You can check them, but don't move them. And if you need to move them around if the center is burning, just scoot them around. And that's how they should look after 10 minutes, just fried on one side. Now, in the leftover oil, I'm adding our veggies, the carrot, the yellow squash, and the other half of the onion that was cut into matchsticks. And we're going to stir fry this for a few minutes till the onion and the carrot get soft. Now, I'm adding a tablespoon of cornstarch to our sauce, realizing I shouldn't be using a spoon and should use a whisk. And I'm gonna pour it onto the veggies. Now this thickens almost instantly. So once you do this, turn off the heat and stir it constantly for a minute. As you can see, it's already really thick, but we need to cook out the flavor of that cornstarch and get it to thicken up. So just do this for a minute and it will be perfect. And then it's time to plate. And like I said, make sure you let your rice steam for 10 minutes or it will not be fluffy like this. The perfect texture. Alright, I'm gonna do half the plate of rice, or thereabouts. A nice portion of tofu. And our veggie and sauce mix. And I would highly recommend doing rice with this dish. It really helps. Now I'm garnishing with the green onion, black sesame seeds on the white rice, and white sesame seeds on the veggies and tofu. And there you have it. One of the best tofu stir fries you'll ever have. Enjoy!